nitrogen coming off of the crop, then it doesn't know how much nitrogen to add to the soil. Now, obviously, if the crop's then growing, so you don't have the dirt texture, you don't have the dirt texture of that field over there, then there's something to sense. If all you've got is dirt, it's a little bit unrealistic for you do get things. So there's I do things in a sequence. I'll pre-fertilize a field usually with digestate or slurry, because it reduces the amount of liquid or solid fertilizer I'm throwing out there and reduces the cost. Obviously, bonus if you're using digestate, because you got paid to make it. And at least on Maypole, there was nothing to do with it except throw it out on the fields. And my cows were producing so much manure and slurry that I couldn't keep up with the supply. But yeah, it's also for me. It's also a case of how much gain do I get by doing a thing, and how much is it going to cost me to do it. So at this stage of this farm, I could buy a mulcher, I could buy a roller, but that's a lot of money for a very small boost in income, and mulching and rolling don't directly affect the environmental score. Spraying a field does, and then having crop sensors on the tractor maximizes the environmental score as well. So that's a good deal, I think. Oops. Excuse me while I drive up the hedge. That's a whole new experience. So I kind of, starting a farm, I'm looking at what's the best return on my money. Should I buy a weeder? Probably, because I just hate weeds. Should I buy a seeder? Yes, because you need seeders to put seeds into the ground in order to make stuff grow, which makes you money. But do I need to lime every field right away? No, but if I don't, then every time I harvest it, the pH alters by more and more, and so it's going to cost me more in lime when I eventually get round to it. But I can skip it a couple of times, maybe. But yeah, typically fertilization is the big, if I get this field perfectly fertilized, then I'm going to make good yield, bonus, and everything else. And then it comes down to, that grass roller is 5,000. You know what? I could buy that, roll my grass fields, and it's going to provide me a bit of a bonus, so maybe I should think about that. And it's cheap. But, paying 80,000 for a roller, for example, the return with only 2 or 3 fields really isn't worth it at the moment. Obviously, on where we were on Maypole, where I had about 15 fields, then having the rollers and the mulchers and everything else, absolutely a good idea, because 5% boost in yield over 15 fields more than paid for what I spent buying them that year. I'm also a big fan of the John Deere Batwing mod, because that can be reconfigured as a mulcher or a mower. So it's a dual purpose piece of equipment, and it's very, very, very cheap, and it has a fairly good working width. Something like about 7 meter working width. So I'm kind of good with that. Now what? I'll put this here. I'm kind of thinking this tractor should have the power to haul the loading wagon. Might not have the power to run it, but it definitely has the power to haul it, I think. We can take this down to the field, we can bring the windrower back once the Valtra's done. We'll save a shuttle trip. Actually, that is kind of heavy, I'm noticing the weight. But yeah, it would turn out, if you do things, if you do the things that you need to once, so if you're dealing with weeds, if you use a weeder or a hoe, depending on what stage of weeds you have, and don't use a sprayer, or if you use a sprayer and don't use a weeder, then you can either end up with best yield or you can end up with best environmental score, but you can't end up with both unless you do multiple, you do all of the things. Now, doing all of the things is going to cost you wear and tear on your equipment, which on a smaller farm might not be worth it because you need the income from the crops to cover, or the boosted income from the crops to cover that maintenance. But still, it definitely appears, at least Disturbed's conclusion was, while you get the best environmental score from spraying herbicide, to get the best income, it actually encourages you to not get the best environmental score, but to use a mechanical weeder rather than spray, which I kind of considered that the environmental score would be more attuned to having, what am I trying to say, towards green farming, so less artificial fertilizer, less other stuff. If you can do it naturally and let stuff grow, you're putting less chemicals down, you're getting less poisons in the rivers and all the rest of it. Maybe that's where the environmental the best environmental result should be. Now that's not reflected in the game, so never mind. Okay, so the rest of this I'm going to have to do manually anyway. So I think it's done with the headlands. It's on its last headland. Actually, that's good timing. Let me kick that off the back. Lift the loader up a little. And I guess we wait for Big Valtra to come down. And of course, I've just remembered I can set the little Kubota to shuttle that windrower home on farm tracks while we do the Valtra thing. What are you going to do? You're stopping there, that's nice. Do you fold it all the way up? I don't know. Yep. Cool. Okay, I'm going to back you off there. Oops. There we go. Okay, we'll get this hitched up. And Kubota. Press that button, go forwards. So it's a little bit scrappy on the edges, but I think this field does have the leeway for us to do all the things. Okay, let me send you. Right about. He's off. Okay, where's this contract going? Take it to Bales Market, I believe. That one there. Now, fortunately, it looks like we can dive out onto the main road and just head straight north. So, not a big deal. I don't need to be in this tractor. I don't need to be in that. So I don't know what the deal with that shop forklift is. So I did look at the HTML or the XML, and it is set to farm number 0, which should mean it is not my equipment, but it appears on my equipment list, and I tab to it. So I don't know if it's set up wrong. But I know for things like, what was it, the map with the roller coaster on it, it had a lot of farm number 0 equipment that you couldn't tab to. It wasn't yours, but you could make use of it by walking up to it and getting in it. Okay, and this will fill up to 35,000 because weight of hay is lower than weight of conditioned grass. Okay. I may just end up putting the park vehicle mod on, and then setting the store forklift to parked, so I don't tap to it. Oh, mind the hedge. So 3:15 in the afternoon, and sadly these fields over here are not as connected as the grass fields round our farm. So I can't drive across them to get out quickly. Whee. So I haven't been this far, I don't think I've been this far south on the main road. Oh, gas station, that's handy. Not that I need any right now. There's a thing, and another thing. Little blue dots on the map, which may come in useful later when we get into productions, but for right now, we'll make money as best we can. Gonna get in the cab, and it gets a little bit disorienting with all the trees. At least they don't overhang the roads like they did on Maypole. Maypole I did a lot of in-cab driving, especially during the summer, because of the canopy over the roads. However, the hills on this one can make things a little bit interesting because you end up looking at the floor. Oh, come on, tractor. So this is why I might look at an engine upgrade on this tractor. I think all the tractors Well, generally I've figured that buying a partial engine upgrade on a tractor can be a problem if you later then decide to upgrade to a full horsepower version or model, because you have to pay the full board on the engine from the basic engine. So if you've got a tractor that's 100 horsepower, can have 110 for an extra 5, 120 for an extra 12, whatever. If you pay the 5 to upgrade to the 10, you still have to pay the 12 to upgrade to the 120. So you end up spending more on progressive engine updates than you do if you just go, I've got enough for the biggest engine, let's put it in the tractor. So if I'm unsure about a tractor, I'll buy the base model, basic engine, and then later on, if I decide it doesn't quite have the grunt, I can get the biggest engine upgrade and go with that. We made that mistake with the Massey Ferguson, the older Massey Ferguson 6S before the new one got patched in, where I bought the basic model, I think was 150 horsepower, and then decided, it can't climb up the hills with all the stuff in the back, let's go with the next one, the 170 horsepower. No, that didn't work. 180 horsepower. No, that didn't work. And I ended up with a 200 horsepower tractor, but it cost me like 3 or 4 engine upgrades, which is not the greatest plan. Okay, so this now counts as delivering. Details on. We are 16% delivered. $36, actually, this is good. 38% delivered in one load. And I think there's going to be quite a few loads of hay from that. So we are going to get a fairly good bonus income off this. Hay's not the greatest value, but the fact that I don't have to buy a baler yet does mean doing the hay contracts is kind of working for me at the moment. And as I said, as soon as we finish this contract, I want to look at purchasing a sprayer so that I can start running around doing spraying contracts, fertilizing contracts, and spraying contracts maybe. Because they can be done quickly and can make you a fair amount of good money. I didn't look to see if I could turn left there. Well, there is a farm track. Maybe we want to go that way. Well, maybe not. I don't know. Oops, let's drive on the pavement. Kill the pedestrians. Time for a little Grand Tractor Theft Auto. Ooh. Missed the cars. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to stop in time for that person. I did notice, however, that the people stop if they're on the crossing and you drive straight in front of them. They'll stop if they're not where you are. If you drive over them, then they keep walking. But that's kind of cool. So I figured out what all the funky icons next to the field numbers are. That means that there is a contract in that field. And I honestly don't know what contracts those might be, because those are not grass fields. But any of the grass fields that have little flickering icons. So if we go, I think we go here. Yeah, all of these here. We're on that one, we're doing hay, but this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one, these all have baling contracts. These two, and these two. And those will be, what will they be? They will be silage contracts. Then these are possibly harvesting contracts. I haven't figured those out yet. They might be ploughing contracts. That's probably a harvesting contract. Don't know what that is. But that's a bale. That looks like ploughing. Or cultivating. Could be one of the two. But that's nice. And it looks like the pedestrians all went, so I've probably got some guy behind me. Oh, suspected spam. Bye-bye. Okay, so we need to go past the gas station and then turn left onto the farm track. There's the gas station. Oh, dude! Past the gas station, and that looks like a farm track. Okay, let's get this contract completed. This looks like a good place to turn. I forgot to remove the course. There we go. A lot of trees out there. Maybe I should start thinking about the old what to do during winter that we had on going on Lawfolds, where I just decimated trees. I'd buy a plot of land that had about 100 trees on it, and then we would just kill all the trees. I think I ended up chopping down about 400 trees over the course of the game. And I was just getting to the point where the first plot of ground I'd chopped all the trees down on. I chopped them all down, I replanted them all, and then that plot, the trees were just reaching full maturity as Farm Sim 19 came out, so we stopped murdering Scottish trees at that point. I think that one I used the Valtra T with front loader arms and the BioBelts logging fork, because it had 2 upper prongs and 2 lower prongs, which made holding the logs much more stable than the 1 up, 2 down that the in-game forks at that time had. Oh crikey, we're full already again. This is, I think the transporting is going to take a while. Maybe one day I will get another big tractor and another loading wagon, and I can shuttle these between field and sell point so that we have a constant delivery going. So obviously this isn't the bestest field for this delivery point, because we have to travel practically all the way across the map. Now, I'm going to tie this way. we'll take a left round this cornfield, and I'm hoping it takes me up to the northern road. Might do, might not. I did discover that we can go, if we leave the farm onto this northern road, we can just go straight across to get to the bale sell point. But then, you know, the export sell point is right down the road if I turn right, so, yeah. They're both very close to my farm, and so is the BGA. But we get to explore, so that's not a bad thing. Huh. Oh, I don't know if I can get out this way. Ooh. Yeah, that was bad. Oh dear. I think I should have turned. What was left is now right. Just up here. Of course, with this map, there's no cheating and driving through the hedges if you take a wrong turn. Yeah. So I will try, now that we're on the correct route, I will try taking, oh yeah, look, I turned right there and I should have gone straight. Actually, no. Oh, this just takes me out on the road I would have come out on anyway. And we're near the bottom of the hill, so it's down and then a long climb up. Oops. Just trying to keep it on the road. Oh, come on, tractor. Yeah, I might do that. Obviously, it's going to cost me a little bit. Actually, we can do that because I can still see where we're going. So I'm not sure. It looks like the track round field 71 doesn't actually head south. The other one would head us round 90. It doesn't connect.